As twilight's gentle glow seeped through the curtains one evening, my partner gently guided me to sit, her voice quivering with a determined calm that suggested her mind was already set. She cast a fleeting glance my way, eyes darting to the side, and softly said, "I need some space. Can we just be friends?" Her words struck like a chilling gust on a summer afternoon, sharp and unexpected, yet I mustered only a faint nod and a single syllable. "Okay." That brief response felt like closing a vault on the world we'd built together. Inside, my soul was splintering, though I masked the pain with a stoic facade. This was the same woman who once promised forever, who laughed with me until sunrise colored the horizon, who whispered of futures we'd craft hand in hand. Yet, with one sentence she withdrew, as if those cherished moments had dissolved into nothingness. I longed to demand explanations, to untangle the reasons behind her choice, but I held my ground, opting for silence rather than pleading. After we parted ways, I retreated to my silent apartment, where echoes of our past lingered like restless spirits. I sifted through old pictures, each one a blade slicing through me with memories of what was lost. My heart yearned to hold on to hope, but my mind whispered a harsher reality. If she craved distance, she was already too far gone. Rather than pursuing a vanishing mirage, I chose to let her go completely. I wiped her presence from my life. Social media, phone contacts, even the music lists we'd lovingly assembled. It wasn't born of malice. It was a shield for my own survival. Healing couldn't start if her face kept reappearing on my screen. If friendship was her proposal, she could offer it elsewhere. I wouldn't remain as her emotional safety net. The weeks that followed were unyielding. I caught myself checking my phone too often, waiting for a text that never came. Nights grew heavier, steeped in quiet tears and unanswered questions that reverberated in the stillness. But slowly, the pain began to shift. I realized that my simple okay carried more strength than her retreat. It marked my first step toward prioritizing myself over her. Friends reassured me I'd made the right choice, oblivious to the storm churning within. Acting as if I'd moved on was draining when every fragment of my world still held her imprint. Yet, I reminded myself each day that my dignity was worth more than chasing fleeting affection. Months later, to my astonishment, she reached out. Her message was casual, almost careless. "Hey, how are you doing?" I stared at the screen, my chest tightening, then closed the conversation without replying. Responding would have dragged me back into her cycle of half-hearted care, a cost I couldn't bear. Cutting her off wasn't rooted in resentment. It was about cherishing myself enough to walk away from someone who no longer valued me. That decision was the hardest I'd ever faced, but also the most liberating. I wasn't a backup plan to be kept in reserve after being her everything. Over time, I discovered strength in the stillness. The world didn't crumble without her, though I once feared it might. I found laughter again, forged connections with new people, and rediscovered pieces of myself I thought she'd taken. What seemed like a devastating end became a courageous new beginning. She may never understand why I cut ties so thoroughly, but I couldn't afford to linger in the dim shadow of friendship with someone who'd turned away from love. Fully letting go was my only path to survival. And in that release, I uncovered something surprising: tranquility. No more waiting for messages that never arrived, no more pretending we could recapture what was gone. Just freedom and a future untainted by her presence. That single word, okay, wasn't merely agreement to her request. It was my silent pledge to myself. A commitment that I'd never accept less than my true value. Not even for the person I'd once held dearest. Sometimes, the boldest words aren't "I love you" or "please stay." Sometimes it's a quiet okay, backed by the resolve to walk away and stand by it.